Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to this extraordinary meeting of Council on Tuesday, the 11th of October. Acknowledgement of country. Wingecarribee Shire Council acknowledge that the Gundungurra and Tharawal people, as the traditional custodians of this land we now call Wingecarribee Shire. I pay my respects to elders both past, present and emerging. I would also like to extend that respect to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islanders present here or watching today. Statement of ethical obligations. As Administrator, I will undertake the duties of the Office of Administrator in the best interest of the people of the Wingecarribee Shire Council area and to act faithfully and impartially carry out functions, powers, authorities and discretions vested in me under the Local Government Act 1993 or any other act to the best of my ability and judgment. I am committed to the declaration of conflicts of interest in relation to items listed for consideration on the agenda or which are considered at this meeting in accordance with the Code of Conduct and Code of Meeting Practice. Thank you. Obviously there are no apologies. General Manager, declarations of interest? No declarations of interest, Mr. May. Thank you. The first item on the report, item 6.1, Project 24.
Thank you, Mr. May. I'll ask the Acting Manager Business Services to introduce this item. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. Mr. May, the purpose of this report is to inform Council of the outcome of the tender evaluation process that was undertaken as part of Project 24. Project 24 is a combined procurement process that was undertaken with Camden, Campbelltown City, Wallandilly Shire and Wingecarribee Shire Councils for the receival, processing and disposal of municipal waste and resource streams. Our current contract for disposal and processing is managed through a joint contract and is due to expire on June 2024, and a combined procurement process was seen to provide a cost-effective and value-for-money service for the term of the contract, ensure continuity of service provision over the term, ensure that the services are able to adapt to the changes in industry standards, respond to technology advances and reflect community expectations. Also, it is focused on maximising resource recovery and reduce to landfill. All Project 24 councils are holding simultaneous meetings to provide the outcome of the Project 24 process.
Thank you for that. In accordance with the advices on page 8 of the business paper, I acknowledge that I was offered a briefing in relation to the confidential report, which I declined, having regard to my views on briefings and workshops, and I said I would read the reports and then ask my questions. I've read the reports and I would note for the record that I've asked a lot of questions of the staff in relation to this report, and I am satisfied with the responses I've received, and I've asked that for the record a list of those questions and the answers provided to me be kept at the Council. I do not see any need for the Council and the circumstances to go into closed council to deal with this matter. However, I am conscious of the need to maintain the confidentiality not only of the tender evaluation report, but the legal advice that was contained with that report, and now the answers to the questions that I raised that I thought were necessary for me to make an informed decision in relation to this matter. I have had extensive discussions with the staff in the governance area and the General Manager, and I think it would be appropriate if the General Manager was to read a recommendation that I intend to move and carry. Thank you, General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. May. So in addition to points 1 and 2, that the following be added. That 1, Council receives the confidential tender evaluation report, in brackets report, for the RFT T21/13 RFT. 2, Council A, in accordance with S 178(1)(b) of the Local Government General Regulation 2021 New South Wales Regulation, declines to accept any of the tenders submitted in response to the RFT, and B, in accordance with section 178(3)(e) of the regulation, resolves to enter into negotiations with the persons identified for that purpose in the report, in brackets nominated persons, in respect of the particular services for which each nominated person is nominated in the report, and in the manner described in the report, with a view to entering into a contract or contracts for the services relating to the subject matter of the RFT with one or more of the nominated persons. 3, Council, in accordance with section 178(4)(a) of the regulation, notes that the reason for Council declining to invite fresh tenders or applications as referred to in section 178(3)(b) through to D of the regulation is that A, it is not expected that further market testing will provide a more satisfactory result, and B, it is anticipated that a satisfactory result can be achieved through negotiating one or more of the nominated persons in the manner described in the report. 4, Council, in accordance with section 178(4)(b) of the regulation, notes that the reasons for Council determining to enter into negotiations with the nominated persons is that A, Council is satisfied that each of the nominated persons would be capable of undertaking the relevant services for which they have been nominated in the report, and B, it is anticipated that a satisfactory outcome can be achieved through negotiations with one or more of the nominated persons. Point 5, all tenderers are notified as appropriate that no tenders for RFT T21/13 were accepted, and Point 6, the General Manager A be authorised to directly negotiate with one or more of the nominated persons in the manner described in the report for the purpose of entering into a contract with one or more preferred tenderers in relation to the subject matter of the RFT, and at the completion of negotiations, return a report to Council for acceptance by further resolution. Point 7, the Tender Evaluation Report, in brackets attachment 1, and tender legal advice, in brackets attachment 2, be withheld from access to the media and public in accordance with section 11(2) of the Local Government Act 1993 for the following reasons. A, Tender Evaluation Report is confidential in accordance with section 10A(2) of the Local Government Act 1993 under clause 10A(2)(c). Information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the Council is conducting or proposes to conduct business. B, tender legal advice is confidential in accordance with section 10A(2) of the Local Government Act 1993 under clause 10A(2)(g). Advice concerning litigation or advice that would otherwise be privileged from production in legal proceedings on the ground of legal professional privilege. Point 8, the questions posed by the Administrator of Staff and staff responses in relation to the Tender Evaluation Report, in brackets attachment 1, and tender legal advice, in brackets attachment 2, be withheld from access to the media and public in accordance with sections 11(2) of the Local Government Act 1993 for the following reasons. A, Tender Evaluation Report is confidential in accordance with section 10A(2) of the Local Government Act 1993 under clause 10A(2)(c). information that would, if disclosed, confer a commercial advantage on a person with whom the council is conducting or proposes to conduct business. And B, tender legal advice is confidential in accordance with Section 10A2 of the Local Government Act 1993 under Clause 10A2G. Advice concerning litigation or advice that would otherwise be privileged from production in legal proceedings on the grounds of legal professional privilege. Thank you, Mr. May.
Thank you, General Manager. Have we got that to come up on the screen, please? I think the General Manager said the officer's recommendation plus, but I don't think that's necessary. I think you only need what's there. I think it's superfluous because that explains what that other recommendation was. So are you content with that? Thank you. I would move that and declare it carried. Having said that, could I also acknowledge the work that the officers of the participating council have done in relation to this matter, and I look forward to Wingecarra be better cooperating with all its adjoining councils in the future, and the more we can do with this, I think the better it is for residents generally. Next item, we move to item 6.2, road reserve through 70 Drapers Road. General Manager.
Thank you, Mr. May. The Coordinator Property Services will introduce this item. Thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. Mr. May, the purpose of this report is to seek council resolution to undertake community consultation in relation to the proposed road closure of the road which runs through 70 Drapers Creek Road, Collavale. The subject road has an area of approximately 10,741 square metres and does not service any properties, and no internal objections have been received to the proposed closure. All neighbouring properties will be advised of the proposed closure as part of the consultation process. Upon closure, the land will vest in council as operational land for future sale to the adjoining owner. If there are any objections to the closure during the period of public exhibition, a further report will be presented to council to a future meeting of council for consideration.
Can you just remind me, in relation to these matters, until you ascertain whether there is, after the council makes a decision, that there is a genuine interest on the part of the property owner to purchase, you would do a valuation before you went any further?
That's correct. You may recall the previous road closure policy based the value on the adjoining land. So at that, there was an evaluation required at that stage. However, it's been recently changed so that it will be via independent valuation, but we don't order the valuation until we have the resolution of council to proceed to put it on exhibition, because there's expenses involved that would be incurred by the applicant, and if we don't have the resolution, we just would like to avoid them incurring those costs if there's no resolution.
So the council amended its methodologies for dealing with this, but took account of the fact that it's not the land in isolation, it's what the land brings to the allotments to which it could possibly be attached.
That's exactly right, yes, and determined by independent market valuation. Yep.
Thank you very much. In relation to item 6.2, I would move the officer's recommendation as outlined on page 16 of the business paper 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6 and declare that carried. Next item is 6.3, Part 477, Belmore Falls Road, Robinson.
Thank you, Mr May. And again, the Coordinator, Property Services, thank you.
Thank you, General Manager. Mr May, this report relates to the acquisition of land for road purposes to resolve encroachment of the formed Sherlaw Road, Robertson, upon privately owned land. Resolution is already held for the acquisition of Part 25 Sherlaw Road and 392 Belmore Falls Road to rectify the road encroachment. To ensure the issue of the road encroachment is rectified in its entirety, resolution is also required to acquire a small parcel of land from 477 Belmore Falls Road, Robinson. Investigations have established that the cost of formation of the road within the registered road reserve would be significantly higher than the depreciated value of the existing road. This report seeks the necessary resolutions to enable Council to commence negotiations with the owner of 477 Belmore Falls Road, Robertson, to fully rectify the road encroachment.
This is in effect Chapter 2 of the last meeting.
Yeah, we were originally provided with a road survey which only outlined the two properties that had previously been dealt with, but upon further investigation there was a small area of another property that was affected, so just for completeness we wanted to resolve all of it.
Thank you. In relation to item 6.3, part of 477 Belmore Falls Road, Robinson, I would move the officer's recommendation as outlined on page 20 of the business paper, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and 6, and declare that carried. General Manager, is there any further matters to be considered at this meeting?
No, Mr May.
Thank you, and I thank everyone for their attendance and declare the meeting closed.